Hello everybody, welcome to our live antenna demo. I am Onur, I am co-founder and CEO of ALCAN. Here I am together with two of my colleagues, Esat Sibay, our co-founder and chief operational officer, and Rıza, one of our RF engineers and expert on 5G. We prepared this live demo for you. We are going to demonstrate a millimeter wave relay unit for you, which was planned to be shown in Barcelona, but unfortunately the event is cancelled, and we decided to make this live demonstration to bring the technology to you. And this is a live demonstration. Just almost an hour ago, the snow is started in Darmstadt, which is for the first time this year, maybe even for this winter. So you can at least check the weather conditions in Darmstadt. The program has mainly three parts. I will start with the general introduction. Then with Rıza, we will focus on the technology, the demo itself. And later on with Esat, we will discuss the business aspects, our vision, what we are planning to do with ALCAN, and so on. So first of all, ALCAN is located at Darmstadt. It's in Germany, which is 20 kilometers far away from Frankfurt Airport. Darmstadt has a lot of first things in his history. For example, first radar application is done here. First electrical engineering department is established in Darmstadt. This is the only city, as far as we know, whose name is given to an element in the periodic table, that is Darmstadium. And CST Microwave Studio, which is a well-known program by the antenna engineers, it's again established in Darmstadt. And as ALCAN, we would like to take our part in the success story coming from Darmstadt. At ALCAN, we are developing smart flat panel antennas for satellite constellations and 5G. Our antennas are phased array antennas, which are implemented by using microwave liquid crystal technology. So the phased array antennas are actually very well-known antenna topology. They have two main issues. They had two main issues up to now. The first is the cost. The second is the power consumption. At ALCAN, by using liquid crystal technology, we solve those two problems at the same time. Our antenna has also some sensors, so it's a smart antenna, as I mentioned at the beginning. There are some sensors in antenna where we know where the signal is coming, and we also know where we have to transmit the signal, as well as we also know where our antenna is installed. If it is installed on top of the mobile terminal, by means of sensors and the software we know that, and we can compensate any mechanical movement of any of those parties by means of electronic beam steering capability of our antenna, which is again achieved by using liquid crystal technology. So long story in short, in our phased array antennas, we implement the phase shifters by using liquid crystal. So here on my right side, you see our antenna. This is 28 by 14 centimeter antenna, operates at millimeter 5G frequencies, and it has two beams where we control independently, and it has transmit and receive functionality in one aperture. So Rıza, please tell us more about the demo here.
So this demo, the purpose is to demonstrate the relay capability of antenna solution. So as you mentioned, we have two beams, and in order to show the relay capability, we are using two antennas in this room, two horns actually. One of them is acting as a base station, and the other one is acting as a user or a receiver. As you can see in the slide, the positions of the horn, they are not in their line of sight of each other, so they cannot communicate to each other directly. So they need a relay in order to establish the link.
Okay,
this
so
is
with our antenna, we have two beams. We are receiving from one side and then transmitting onto the other side, and
yes.
there is no direct connection between
exactly.
two antennas. Okay.
Exactly. So these relays they are particularly interesting for 5G millimeter waves. As we know, in millimeter waves, we have increased path loss. We have limited coverage range because of this increased path loss, and also most of the cases we have dead zones that we cannot cover with our base station. So we need the relays to act as range extenders to increase the coverage for the millimeter waves. So here we try to demonstrate the relay capability of ALCAN solution.
Okay.
So now as you can, so what we are doing actually is that we are sending a video file using our transmitter horn, and receive this. We are receiving and decoding this video file using our receive horn, and our receive horn is connected to the TV that you can see in the background of the video. as you can see at the moment, the link is established. So we are sending and receiving, sending the video, receiving it and decoding it. So this link is established because of the relay. So if I block our antenna, you can see that the signal is out. So each of the sides of the antenna, you can see that we lose the signal.
Okay.
So now the beams are in their initial position, as you can see in the interface. So the beams, the right beam is at 30 degree, the other beam is also at 30 degree. Now we would like to demonstrate the beam string.
Before we start demo, can you please show us that this signal is not coming? Actually, you already blocked the antenna, we
Yes.
lost the signal, but still, by switching off the beam steering capability of our antenna, let's rotate and show that there is no link.
Okay. So now what I will do is that I will reset my position. I will turn off my sensor. So now what happens when we rotate the antenna mechanically? For this purpose, we are using a camera motor. Now you can see the antenna is rotating mechanically. And here at the right side, you see the base station horn from the camera on top of the antenna. At the left side now, you should be able to see the user horn. So the beam steering capability of the antenna was off, so it was not able to compensate the physical movement of the antenna. So this is why when the antenna moving, we have no signal, so there is no video displayed on the TV. So now if we come back to the center position and turn on the sensor, I think we are now at the sensor position.
This is the center position, I guess, yes.
So I will turn on the sensor. I will now if we start to rotate the antenna mechanically, we will see that we will not lose the connection, because the sensor is ordering our beamforming antenna control unit to compensate this physical movement. So as we can see by I think you are blocking the signal. Yes, yes. So when the antenna is rotating, the link is always there. This is because we are actually rotating the antenna mechanically plus minus 20 degree. The beam positions were 30 degree. It means actually we are performing a beam steering of plus minus 50 degree.
What is the speed, turn speed here?
So this speed at the moment is 10 degree per second. This is because this motor cannot go faster.
Okay.
So it's
the mechanical
yes,
setup limitation.
Yes, this is just some commercially available off-the-shelf equipment that we are using at the moment.
Okay, many thanks, Reza. So if I again put my hand, I will lose the signal, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
So even when it's steering, so if we block it, we don't have any signal.
Okay. So thanks, Reza. I will have some other technical questions to you. Before I come to you, Esat Bey, I would like to actually discuss a bit more about the ALCAN background, how our journey started. So ALCAN, as I said, we are developing phased array antennas by using liquid crystal technology. And liquid crystal phased arrays are invented in 1940s, again in Germany. And 30 years later, liquid crystal technology, the first displays are implemented, and then material is actually developed again in Darmstadt. Another 30 years later, beginning of 2000s, my PhD supervisor, Professor Rolf Jacobi, also co-founder of ALCAN, he initiated microwave liquid crystal research. At that time, software-defined radio or digital beamforming, that was very hot topic. He recognized that these systems are nice, flexible, but consumes a lot of power and has some physical limitations. So then he decided to focus on reconfigurable RF front-end with analog beamforming techniques, and liquid crystal is one of the research area that he is leading for many years successfully. In 2009, I started my PhD. As a young PhD, I was looking for new topics. I recognized my former colleagues and their project partners. They implemented the first RF components. They improved the material, like temperature stability, the response time. Many things have been implemented. And I've seen the next step will be bringing this research to the system level. And as a result, implemented the first phased array antenna. That's a small prototype 2x2 antenna. You can see the picture on the screen, but also it's available on our webpage. That took some attention from the industry. And a lot of companies visited us. That was important time period for myself and for my professor to see the high demand for those antennas, and also to see the need, product needs, customer needs. As an engineer, we know the technology, what has to be done in the antenna, but understanding what customer is looking for is extremely important, and we use this period by having the meetings with the industrial leaders at that time. And it was also obvious for me that the project has to be funded, and I need a team to run this business in the worldwide. So shortly after my PhD, applied the EXIS program. This is from Economic Ministry of Germany, and we get the first seed fund around 850,000 euro, and the project is kicked off at 2014. We were 3 people in the small room in the university, and 2 years later we were around 10 people. We had a fully working lab prototype, and the company is established, and based on this we raised in total 10.5 million euro from 3 investors. And since then, we are just focusing on productization of the technology that we are developing here, and we achieved a successful field test. For example, back in 2018, where the first KU band, the liquid crystal-based phased array antenna had been implemented, and we had recently achieved 2 critical milestones. One is on the satellite communication side, the other one is the 5G. The 5G is actually the relay application that we are demonstrating right now, and just before the Christmas, we completed our Ka band antenna field test with satellite. So there will be also an announcement following for that. So, Esat Bey, this is how we started, how we came, and I would like to hear the story from your side, I mean from the business perspective.
Sure, sure. I mean, we're at a very exciting point, really excited where we are. It's been 5 years of lots of hard work to get to this point. But the next 5 years, I think, is going to be even more exciting from where we are. This was a key milestone for us to reach where we are right now. The first prototypes which work, which demonstrate the steerability of the antenna. So really exciting where we are on right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in terms of the technology, how do you see this technology?
So I mean, when we talk about the potential of this technology commercially, there's really 3 things I stress to the parties we talk to. First of all, we have a phased array antenna, and this is a big deal. As everyone knows, phased array, after dish antennas, is the most effective antenna technology there is. And everybody's either trying to do a phased array, or they're trying to do something which behaves like phased array. Ours actually is a phased array antenna. I stress that that's very important. So the high bandwidth capacity of our antenna and its steering capabilities, it is like all phased array antennas. So this is really powerful aspect to technology. But on top of that, what we have achieved is 2 critical things. One is around the cost of these antennas. Because of liquid crystal, we are using display technology, and as a consequence, what used to be maybe $1 million when it was a military technology, and then 100,000 when it was a commercial technology, we're able to bring the cost of this thing down to 1,000 or less for satellite. And the implication for the 5G side is a $500 antenna might cost $50 or less. So this is a tremendous reduction in cost that we've achieved in terms of the technology's capability. Secondly, the nice thing about liquid crystal is it doesn't require any power for the phase shifting. And again, this is enormously important. So the first is a CapEx question for the industry who might have to buy millions of these antennas, and the upfront cost of buying these antennas is quite critical in terms of implementing 5G, but to also reduce the power requirements, I mean, from a typical 40 to 50 watts for such an antenna down to 4 watts. I think right now we're showing actually 3 watts. 3 watts. This is 1/10 or more savings in terms of power. And the OpEx implication for operators, this is critical. I mean, where everyone is looking at the future to be more green, where the cost of operating these networks is increasing exponentially, to be able to reduce the power of this technology is a tremendous achievement. As we all know, 5G, one of the big targets of 5G was to reduce power consumption. What's gone on? The power is increased with all of the new technology that's been rolled out. So for the first time, ALCAN is coming up with a technology which reduces the power consumption of core components there. So these 3 aspects combined, phased array, low cost, low power, we believe we've got something very unique right now, which is unmatched by any other technology or any other provider out there. So really excited by the market potential of this product.
The cost, I want to highlight that, I mean, even during the early phase of my PhD time, that was also instruction I was given by Professor Jacobi that I was working with a display maker. So we can use existing production line to implement our antenna. So that's actually important cost reduction point.
Absolutely.
At that point, Rıza, I have two questions to you. So Esat Bey mentioned 3 watt, 3.1 watt, I guess. So please give us breakdown, and also, I mean, during your PhD, you work with the different antenna technologies and architectures for, again, 5G, millimeter 5G. So how do you compare our technology?
Okay. Yes. So before going into that topic, so as you can see in the interface, so the power consumption of this antenna is only 3.1 watts. So where is this 3 watts coming? So around let's say 0.7 watts is coming from the antenna controlling. So meaning the aperture, beam string, all that.
That is. That means all phase shifters are consuming 0.6, 0.7 watt.
Yes, exactly. Okay. To control these phase shifters, we only need 0.6, 0.7 watts. The rest of it is coming from the electronics that we are using for this demo. So we are using some off-the-shelf components in order to have this, for example, this interface that you can see on the corner of your screen, and to be ordered to rotate the antenna from my colleague that is on the backstage. So, and also some other circuits that we are using for this demo. So this is why it's around 3 watts, but the antenna itself alone, the aperture is only 0.7 watts. It means that if you put this in the product, the power consumption, it will be 0.71 watt maximum, this size of antenna. If I want to compare it with a semiconductor-based phased array solution, this size of antenna with this similar RF performances, it will easily have 50 watts power consuming.
Okay.
So going back to your second question, so yes, I studied different antenna technologies during my thesis. So our solution, it has let's say 3 main advantages. First of all is the flat panel antenna, is the phased array. Because as we know, mostly in cellular networks until today, for backhaul we use parabolic antenna solutions. For base station we use also for this sectorial antenna solution. So this is a flat panel antenna. If you compare it with other antenna solutions such as reflectors or lens antennas, it's much compact. It's a smaller form factor. So if you compare it to other existing phased array antennas, it has 2 main advantages, as you and Esat mentioned. One is the cost, the other one is the power. The power, you can see here, we are for this antenna size, we are only consuming 0.6, 0.7 watts. As semiconductor antennas will consume much higher power, because at millimeter wave frequencies, they have to use power amplifiers, and this PA has very low efficiencies at these frequencies. Okay. The other parameter, cost, we can produce these antennas at very low cost, as comparing to semiconductor-based technologies, because again at millimeter waves, the cost of producing semiconductor-based solutions is quite high. Okay. So this is why we claim this 5 times and 10 times reductions.
Okay, thanks, Rıza. So Esat Bey, those are all fine, but what does this mean in terms of the product?
Absolutely. I mean, in terms of products, it means a lot of things. First of all, the millimeter wave market is growing very rapidly. We already know in the US, in Japan, in Korea, rollout has started for millimeter wave. So even though it was only in last December that the World Radio Conference confirmed millimeter wave as one of the frequencies that will be used, the 24 to 28 gigahertz there, actually deployment had started, already trial deployments in the US, in Japan. And so we started working already on our product back then, before the World Radio Conference, and we saw the potential initially that for fixed wireless access as being one of the first entry points in terms of where this technology will be used to create a large bandwidth connectivity for homes and for offices. So as a fiber substitute, it's often talked about, but I mean something that is not always recognized. A fiber capacity might be up to 10 gigabits per second, which is tremendous. but we know with wireless you can go even higher than that. 15, 20 gigabits per second have been tested. So it's a technology with tremendous potential, and what we have is the lowest power, lowest cost solution in the market. So when you're deploying this across millions of households, this will make a huge difference. So our initial target market, we want to start with the CPE market. So one of our products that we were also in tandem to this, what we see the relay here, have developed and is market ready. And secondly, of course, the relay market. These are interrelated. It's about how to go from the base station to the consumer. Sometimes you can go direct, you just need the CPE then, or sometimes you have to go around a corner, just like we're demonstrating here, then you need these relays. And you need hundreds of thousands, if not millions of these components. So this is our first target market, is to supply these. We are ready to take orders from our customers if they wish to speak to us. We're working on the supply chain and the delivery of it, so we could probably start delivering these by early next year to the marketplace.
Okay, many thanks. So Ruza, I have another technical questions at that point. So Esat Bey mentioned high-speed connectivity. So why we think that this technology is actually well suited, if not the best one, for these applications?
This we come to the 5G topic. So for 5G, we are talking about gigabit per second minimum data rates. In order to achieve these high data rates, theoretically we will need the high bandwidth for our waveform, for our signals. And this high bandwidth are mostly available at millimeter waves. This is why we are talking about millimeter wave at 5Gs. And recently in the 19th World Radio Conference, ITU, they recognized 5 additional millimeter wave frequency bands. So in order to achieve this high data rates, we need millimeter waves and their high bandwidth. So this means the equipment, so especially the antenna, needs to be able to function in this wide bandwidth. 3GPP has specified up to 800 megahertz instantaneous bandwidth. This means this means the antenna should be capable to have a uniform functionality in this wide bandwidth. This is different from the impedance bandwidth that we typically know from antenna. Our solutions at 28 gigahertz, for example, we can cover up to 2 gigahertz instantaneous bandwidth.
Yeah.
So this is, we can see, is largely in more than what is required now by the standard. So if they add additional bandwidth, we can easily cover that as well.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so Esat Bey, I mean, as a co-founder of this the company, I would like to ask you, of course, we had a vision like any company. So how does these developments and our other developments that we are doing, how they fit to each other? So can you please also give some idea?
So I mean, I think what we should talk about, our technology is what I would call a platform technology. It's a technology platform that actually can be extended to many use cases. So we've started right now from the 5G side, the millimeter wave, but as you mentioned at the beginning, we're also working on satellite. And some people might say these are two unrelated things, one looking up, one looking down. But actually the way the technology is developing increasingly, because of the line of sight requirement of 5G is becoming more like satellite. And with the new LEO constellations providing this network in the sky, that's becoming more like the cellular network. So there's a kind of a convergence that's happening. And so what we provide with this technology platform is a solution for all of these use cases. You need an antenna for 5G, you create something, what you see over there. You need a LEO antenna, you just make this antenna larger, pretty much with the same underlying technology and control systems. You can then follow and track a satellite up there. So the way we've been thinking about this core platform, what can we do? Where are the immediate needs? And so we started with the immediate needs being, you know, of course, the CPE side of things, as well as the relay side. But on the it's the side of the satellite side, we are seeing the MEOs and the LEOs that are emerging as incredibly big opportunity for us in the marketplace. So in terms of our next area, where would we go with this technology?
Exactly.
I mean, this is something we've been thinking hard about. Mobility is an area that we're really excited by. So mobility, airplanes, boats, etc. But in particular cars, of course. I mean, we spend, all of us, a lot of our life in cars. The car industry is developing. We're going towards self-driving cars. We're going towards connected cars. And the combination of this is very exciting. So the vision we have is of a car that's connected in the cities to 5G. traveling, throughout the city, getting 100 megabits per second or more of connectivity bandwidth into the car, and people are, watching 8K TV. They're doing conference calls. They're playing games, virtual reality. All of this happening at the same time. But as the car drives outside of the city, it's becoming quite clear, I think, to all observers that to maintain the 5G connectivity outside of main urban areas is going to be too expensive to do. The cell tower density that's required is going to be very difficult. Even today, as you all know, when you travel between major cities, it drops from 4G to 3G down to edge, and then in some areas it disappears and comes back. I mean, there are blind spots. So with 5G, this is going to be even more acute. This is where we see the vision of this sort of hybrid solution between satellite and 5G together. And the car, just as it drives through the city, it goes through the 5G connection. The moment the 5G drops off and the satellite becomes stronger, it switches, and then it switches back and forth. So it's switching between cell towers on the ground and cell towers in the sky. And this is what we aspire to become the technology of choice, to provide, just like Intel Inside has become a brand of computers, to be an ALCAN Inside automobile with the communication experience that this will bring to the users.
Okay. I mean, autonomous driving the cars, that means the speed eventually.
Yeah.
So what does this mean for us on the technology side? As the response time of this antenna. So can you please comment on that?
Yes, so we have got some feedback while discussing with different people about what is the response time of liquid crystal. So it's true, the response time of liquid crystal is in order of single digits of milliseconds. So comparing to semiconductor, maybe is not the same. But in reality, so we believe it doesn't make much negative impact on the quality of the link. Because, for example, in a mobile broadband application, if you want to follow up a high-speed train, the latency that is defined is in order of let's say 10 milliseconds. So if we imagine a train that is traveling with a speed of 500 kilometers per hour, this means roughly 1.4 meters per 10 millisecond. And if we imagine a typical antenna, 5G antenna at 28 gigahertz, 16 by 16 array, with the half power beam width of 66 degrees, the coverage zone of this beam in a distance of 50 meters separation. So if we imagine we have the antenna beside the railway, so the coverage zone of this beam is 5 meters. So you can see the train is traveling with the speed of 1.4 meter per 10 millisecond, and the beam is already covering 5 meter zone. So we can easily, with a single digit millisecond speed, we can easily track a 500 kilometer per hour traveling train, and do not disturb the quality of the link.
Okay, thanks, Rizwan. I mean, I just would like to maybe ask one final question. What more can be done with this technology?
Sure. I mean, as I mentioned, it's a platform technology, and from our point, that basically means anywhere you need low cost, low power phased array technology, we can provide a solution. So one exciting area that we look towards the future is the area of transparent antennas. I mean, this is something, as we know, there are some displays which are glass-like, and when you turn them on, the image comes on. The same can be designed for the antenna as well. An antenna which is transparent, it's on glass, and it looks, it can be placed on a window. So you could have one day this relay, or of course our CPE being built into the glass of the building while it's being constructed, and from the outside it looks like any other glass as well. But also in the mobility solutions, you can imagine that many cars are now having glass roofs, glass sunroofs, the new Teslas, for example. That seems to be a trend for the future. We could build the antenna into the glass sunroof of the car. So from the outside, it just looks like a sunroof, but actually it has the functionality of a 5G and a satellite antenna as well. So that's really exciting. Now, when you take this transparency, what is another area that could be desperately needed? And the one area, of course, we're looking with great interest at is the handset, the mobile phone. And as you know, the 5G, this is a challenge, particularly for the mmWave, because it needs to have also a steerable antenna on this, something which is looking at the source of it. It is easy to build the antennas on the back of the antenna, the patches, however you hold it, that some are free. But to have an antenna on the front has been an enormous challenge for the industry. No one has quite cracked it yet. They found solutions around the edges. It's suboptimal. No one is happy. Imagine we can build that screen onto the antenna onto that screen. So all handsets could have one of our antennas. All iPads could have one of them. All laptops, who increasingly might also be using 5G millimeter wave as well. So we see a tremendous growth opportunity in terms of where this technology can go. And so we are in discussion with partners to explore the potential of this technology. So the next, this is why I say the next 5 years are going to be tremendously exciting for the company.
So my takeaway is, as a user, we are demanding high data rate while we are moving. We are not fixed. We want to travel. And high data rate means we need high bandwidth, which can be done at a high frequency. And this is the only technology whose performance gets better as the operating frequency increases.
Yeah.
And making it transparent will enable to install this antenna everywhere.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so thank you very much. Do you have some final words to end at?
Well, no, just to emphasize, we now have a plan for the next 5 years. Every year we are planning different product releases to address different parts of the markets, and both on the satellite and the 5G. As we said, we see them as increasingly a converging industry. Our core technology platform is the same, so we will continue to develop this, but in terms of its use cases, applying it to satellites and 5G, we really think there's going to be a lot of work for us to do. And the vision remains always to be connected and have an ALCAN antenna inside wherever people go.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah.
Riza.
Yes, just one final thing. So, as you mentioned, so the key to the high speed is millimeter waves because of the bandwidth. Even for 6G, we are talking about the terahertz frequencies, which we even have wider bandwidth available. And the wider bandwidth, it means you need to change the antenna. Before that, we used fixed beam antennas. Now we need beam distributed antennas because at millimeter wave, the path loss of the propagation is high. In order to overcome this high path loss, you need higher gain antennas. It means nanometer beam. Nanometer beam means less coverage area. And when you have less coverage area, you need to be able to track your user in order to you keep the connection. So this is why we talk about active antennas, smart antennas, electronic beam distributed antennas for 5G. It is critical now. It will be more critical afterwards. And I think before finishing, we can show our dear viewers another round of our demo. I think we are not. Our sensor is run, and if we rotate it, we will see that we still have the connection. And I want to talk to the engineers watching us. This is a new technology. We all, before knowing more about it, we all have a lot of doubts. Is it working? What is this? Will it work? I think this demo shows very well that it works. It is outperforming from my point of view. Before joining ALCAN, I was skeptical, but now I can say it can outperform easily existing typical solutions. In terms of RF performance, it's perfect. There is not much compromise to do. And in terms of cost and power, we see it's a much better solution, which can enable a worldwide consumer 5G rollout.
Okay, those are all good. What is next then?
Next, we promised you another live broadcast in 3 months with the 5G millimeter wave CPE product.
CPU.
Yes.
Okay. So thank you very much for watching us. Thank you for also the whole ALCAN team to make this happen in a short time after the event is cancelled. As Riza said, there will be another live demo in 3 months, and there will be product which will be followed up again in this year. So thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.